Okay, let's move on. Next, we have Arkansas. Their win total is set at either 7 or 7.5. Um, I'm sorry, my computer just froze. There we go. Sorry about that. 9-4 a year ago, 4-4 in conference. The number 20 team in the country per F plus. Number 22 on offense, number 22 on defense. So this was a top 25 team on both sides of the ball. Not elite, but very good on both sides. And we've talked about their coordinators. Sam Pittman made great hires when he came there, and we see it on both sides of the ball. Projected to be number 26 in the country this year.
Yeah.
A little bit of a step back, number 29 on offense, number 38 on defense. Again, Sam Pittman entering his third season has done almost nothing but good things since he's been there. We do nothing but sing his praises. I don't know if I agree with the projections. The projections are that they take a slight step back. Other people think that they're doing nothing but shooting straight up. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. I don't know. They still have Kendall Briles at offensive coordinator. We both like how he creates easy yards. Their quarterback, KJ Jefferson, really good last year. After losing Felipe Franks the year before, it was kind of a question mark coming in, and he was the best quarterback we've seen at Arkansas in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slightly concerned about the backup situation. Last year, I can't remember which game it was, but I know they were in a kind of a big game where he got hurt, and Malik Hornsby came in, who's an athlete, who's really good and is kind of playing both quarterback and receiver right now. Has a chance to really be in the rotation at receiver this year, but he didn't look great as the backup quarterback. Just didn't look comfortable throwing the ball downfield. I don't know. I think they could still have a pretty good running game with him if KJ Jefferson would happen to go down, but it definitely would it would lower the ceiling on the team. I like the running back Rocket Sanders. They did lose Treylon Burks. That's what most people want to talk about with this team, which he was a huge chunk of their offense a year ago.
Correct.
They bring in Jaden Hazelwood, the receiver from Oklahoma, and they feel good about some of the other receivers. And I mentioned Malik Hornsby; he might be one of those guys. Their tight end Trey Knox is really good. The offensive line should be really good. So I guess what do you think? Because Treylon Burks is kind of irreplaceable, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
but also they feel good about Hazelwood. Some of the other names there. Do you feel like it's just business as usual? Like, do you feel like the offense doesn't miss a beat, or are you a little bit concerned about some of the guys they lost?
I think the offense will be just fine. I think this offense at its core is a run first offense. They're not a throw happy offense. They like to they start with the run. Like it begins with the running, a zone, kind of a zone scheme, and having a mobile quarterback that can get out on the edge and force defenders to make decisions on the edge. That's where it comes down to really for them. Treylon Burks was huge, no doubt. Like he's a stud there, all SEC guy. But bringing in Hazelwood, former 5-star, Matt Landers, a name, I don't know if you mentioned him or not. I think he was a high 4-star that actually he transfers in and has apparently done really well so far in camp. So yeah, no, I think they're going to be really just physical again. You mentioned running the ball kind of with Rocket Sanders. I think he's going to be kind of a name. He might be a household name by the end of this year. Sanders. I love what Kendall Briles does. I think it's really neat watching them run the ball. It's one thing to run the ball, and it's another to run it with art. Like
exactly.
It's so neat. Everything looks so cool when Arkansas runs the ball. They have just like a little zone read where like he just takes it and kind of gives it. He's just reading the defensive end. And
there's a huge difference between watching Iowa's run game and Arkansas's run game.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's much more creative, much more imaginative. I think they use motion really well at Arkansas. They're really good at disguising what they're trying to do, getting defenders' eyes in the wrong place. I think we mentioned, like, if A&M had this style offense, A&M could be a playoff contender this year. I really think that Arkansas doesn't have the talent that A&M does. But Arkansas beat A&M last year, all that said, because sometimes it comes down to other things sometimes, not just talent. So yeah, a huge believer in what Pittman has done there. I think it's been incredible that he's been able to keep those guys. He's kept Odom and Briles when they could have gone a lot of other places. and they're not. They're staying there, and I think there's a reason. There's a reason they're staying there. I think something special is possibly happening there. I think they hit this over. I really do believe that they'll hit this over. They have the toughest schedule in football for me. I truthfully believe
for real.
that. We didn't really get into their schedule, but they have their opening game is Cincinnati. That was a playoff team last year. Not just any team. That's a really tough non-conference game. They have a trip to BYU, Provo.
Yes.
Tricky. That is tricky. Missouri State is another non-conference. I believe Missouri State was in the playoff in their division. It's a lower tier school, and I think they might have played spring ball in 2021.
Do you know who their head coach is?
I don't.
Bobby Petrino.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh my! Let's go. We're having a reunion in Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is going to be. Hey, that's interesting. That is entertaining. Very entertaining. They're also playing Hugh Freeze and Liberty.
Yeah.
So they have no easy games. There aren't really easy games here for Arkansas. So,
you could not make a non-conference schedule that doesn't include a Power 5 opponent that is any more difficult than this. This is, the three of the best. Okay, BYU fans, don't get mad. I mean, most people consider you a G5 team. You're going to be a P5 team. But yeah, Cincinnati, BYU, and Liberty, that's pretty tough. And of course, the Bobby Petrino matchup. And then just looking at their conference schedule, again, like it's the SEC West. It's going to be tough, just inherently. Their crossover matchup, of course, they have Missouri, as they always do. Yeah. And that feels like you feel pretty good about that one this year. And South Carolina. So thank God, I guess, for that. Like, thank goodness they have a relatively easy draw from the East. It could be a lot worse than South Carolina and Missouri, but it's still a very tough schedule. I didn't talk about their defense really yet. You mentioned Barry Odom, the defensive coordinator. I don't know that he's necessarily the defensive mind that is going to just wow people with his top 5 defensive scheme.
Sure.
But to me, he feels like a massive floor raiser on defense. Like, you're not going to suck on defense with him. And honestly, sometimes like that's all you need, especially if you're Arkansas and you're thrilled with a 9-win season. And we saw Arkansas for several years not win games in the SEC.
Yeah.
And if you suddenly have a massive floor raiser who says, we're going to have a top 25 defense just based on playing solid football, we're going to drop 8 when we play Mississippi State. We're not going to beat ourselves up. We're not going to play too much man just because we might not have the athletes there. Again,
sure.
They have Dwight McGlothern this year, transfer from LSU. Maybe that changes a little bit. But there's something to be said for having floor raisers. We all like high ceiling things in football. There's something for having a high floor too. And they have Jalen Catalon at safety. You have guys like Bumper Poole back for his 19th season at linebacker. You have Drew Sanders, the transfer from Alabama. There's some talent on this defense. No, they're not as talented as A&M. You said that, but they're more talented than Arkansas was a couple years ago. Like, they are elevating the talent level on this team. I expect them to be very good again on defense. The schedule's tough. Road games are Mississippi State, BYU, Auburn, and Mizzou. That's not easy. This is a good number, 7.5.
Yeah.
I'm taking the over on the 7. I like the push insurance there because 7 wins wouldn't shock me. Like a 7-5 season wouldn't shock me just based on it's a tough schedule. Let's be honest. I think they could theoretically win 9 games. Like that could happen.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I think we have agreement there. It is the toughest schedule in football, and that's a little unfair. I think when you schedule Cincinnati and Liberty and Missouri State, you're not anticipating them, you're not anticipating Cincinnati being in the playoff. You're not anticipating Cincinnati being a playoff team the year before. So it's going to be really good games. I think you want to talk about entertainment. Arkansas will be entertaining this year. That's going to be a really fun team to watch. KJ Jefferson, I think the talent that left, a lot of it gets made up for when you have a quarterback that's returning that you have a ton of faith in, and he gets to return with his offensive coordinator. So like the system, they've got it. They know what they want to do.
Yeah.
They're established. There's no questions about that. You're trying to find some playmakers to fit in there. And I think that's more doable than trying to replace a quarterback. I think that's harder. So yeah, no, I'm with you there. I think they're probably going to be a better team than their record indicates. Even I think they hit the over, but I think they'll even be better than their record indicates, because I think they're going to lose some games here simply because of like there's no let up. Like it's just from week 1 to week 12, it's a fist fight every week. So I think it's going to be really it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. And good for Arkansas, good for them raising their floor. I think the job that this staff has done, they've really stuck to it, and saw it through. And I think they will see some fruit, this fall.
I would think I would probably say that Auburn might have a slightly tougher schedule, but you're picking Nits because it's so, both of these teams play ridiculously tough schedules.